Welcome everyone to our Bible class for tonight. This will be our last Bible class on the book of Revelation. We're ending with an in-depth analysis of Revelation chapter 5, the slaughtered lamb. The vision of the throne room continues as the sealed scroll now is presented, representing God's plan for justice and redemption of all peoples. And the narrative now focuses and it shifts from the one who is seated on the throne, who was the focus in chapter 4, now to the slaughtered lamb. He becomes the center of attention. And we're going to find out that no one is worthy to open this seven-sealed scroll except for the Lion of the tribe of Judah, who's not revealed as a conquering beast, but as a lamb looking as if it's been slaughtered. This slaughtered lamb, Jesus, he has been glorified and now holds all authority. He can fulfill the plan of God. He is deemed worthy to open the plan of God. But his victory is through self-sacrifice. And so he becomes the template for all Christian discipleship from this moment forward. So here are the key teaching points as we go through each of the verses. We're not going to cover all the verses in chapter 5, but the more important verses. Let's begin. We see here in verse 1, "Then I saw in the right hand of the one seated on the throne a scroll with writing on both sides, sealed with 7 seals." John observes this scroll on the right hand of the one seated on the throne. The right hand symbolizes power, dominion, authority, justice. He holds a scroll with writing on both sides. It's replete with writing. And this represents something extensive, something complete, something that has been completed. Typically in the Greek era, it represented a will, especially if it was sealed with 7 seals, or a judgment or resolution handed down by the highest authority. However, this scroll is not sealed with 1 seal, but with 7. 7 is symbolic of divinity, of perfection, of completeness. And so this 7-sealed scroll represents the one seated on the throne's perfect, complete, and divine will. He sealed it, meaning only he knows what's in it. Only he can reveal it. But as we continue reading, we're going to find out from John, he saw this mighty angel proclaiming with a loud voice, "Who is worthy to open the scroll and break its seals?" But no one in heaven or on earth or under the earth was able to open the scroll or even look in it. I wept and wept because no one was found worthy to open the scroll or even look in it. So our focus is shifted to the need now to open this scroll. I mean, the narrative has zoomed in onto this 7-sealed scroll. So naturally, we're all wondering, well, what is written in it? What is contained within? And John, naturally, he's also longing to know. And that's why he's kind of upset, because no one is deemed worthy to reveal God's judgment, to reveal what God has ordained, his plans for his people. And mind you, remember, John is in the island of Patmos, and he's thinking about all his brothers and sisters, all the persecutions that are going on. He's like, how is this going to end? No one is worthy to know the will of God. That's really what we conclude here, to open the scroll, to even look in it. And so attached to this idea that no one is worthy may cause us to, okay, so how are we going to find out? How is God going to fulfill his judgment? Does God care? Does God want this to happen, or has he written us all off? Angels, of course, they never knew someone would be found that would be worthy enough. That's what this angel says, right? No one is worthy. That was the great secret of heaven. Who is worthy? Humanity was a failure, or was it? Only the God-man, Jesus Christ, the true merging of God and man, was worthy of opening the scrolls. The angels did not know this. Of course, the mystery was only revealed first to mankind, as we read here in Peter. It was revealed to them, angels, that they were not serving themselves, but you, when they spoke of the things that have now been told to you through those who preach the gospel to you by the Holy Spirit sent from heaven. Angels longed to look into these things. They did not know. No one knew who is worthy. And so John is overcome with emotion that no one is worthy enough. His emotions so showed that he understood this wide gap between him and Elohim, the one seated on the throne. They would never be able to bridge that gap. How? How can humans bridge that gap unless someone worthy enough is found? How would evil be reined in now? How would it stop? Would Elohim care? Would he bring about his plan of redemption and justice? Indeed, a desperate situation, especially from a human perspective, especially from those who are experiencing great persecution. But here's what happens. One of the elders said to me, "Don't weep, don't weep. Look, look, the Lion from the tribe of Judah, the root of David, he has conquered, so that he is able to open the scroll and its 7 seals." Notice it wasn't the angels who were aware of this, but the elders were aware of this, the humans to whom the gospel was revealed. And so this makes John visualize this powerful, conquering lion that's going to overcome the enemies with all power and authority. Yes, this is the ending that I saw fit. How can evil be reined in unless someone has enough power to do so? And of course, John and everyone else took worldly physical power. They thought that it took that to do something magnanimous, such as to rein in the evil of the Roman Empire. How else could it have been conquered, right? How else, unless we picture a lion, unless we picture something magnanimous with enough power to do so. However, when John turns and looks, he saw one like a slaughtered lamb standing in the midst of the throne and the 4 living creatures and among the elders. He had 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God sent into all the earth. He went and he took the scroll out of the right hand of the one seated on the throne. See, John expects to see a conquering warrior take the scroll. Instead, a slaughtered lamb takes the scroll. The expectation of power gets redefined in terms of weakness. One would think it's audacious, don't you, to take something from the hand of someone with all authority? Well, that speaks to the authority this slaughtered lamb has. He is God. He is standing there in the midst of the throne and the 4 living creatures. And he takes this scroll. He doesn't need to ask permission. He doesn't need to be told to take it. He is God. He takes it. He knows this is his role. And we read about that here in Hebrews. Therefore, when he came into the world, he said, meaning Jesus, sacrifices and offerings you did not desire, but a body you prepared for me. In the burnt offerings and sin offerings you took no pleasure. Then I said, look, I have come. It is written about me in the scroll to do your will, God. This verse references Psalm chapter 40, or the 40th Psalm, verses 6 and 7. But Hebrews frames it in as Jesus' statement, his mission statement. And because Jesus obeyed the will of God, he is worthy to take the scroll. He is worthy. Someone was found, although appearing weak and defeated, in the use of the word slaughtered. He stands, though. Even though he's slaughtered, he stands in the center of the throne. All focus shifts now to the slaughtered lamb. He is right there amid the throne with the four cherubim sharing divinity with Elohim. He is also standing with the elders, sharing in their humanity. He has been slaughtered because he is a faithful witness, which makes him human. Only humans can be slaughtered. No divine creature can be slaughtered. However, the following makes him divine. He has 7 horns, uh, representing the omnipotence of God. Horns are meant of power and authority. He has 7 eyes, which are the omniscience of God, all knowing, all seeing. These eyes are also the 7 spirits of God, the omnipresence of God. So even though he's shown as a lamb and as a slaughtered lamb, he also carries these symbols of complete power, authority, and most of all, divinity. It is Jesus, it is Christ, the Christ, who brings about the plan of God. He is the one who can fulfill and accomplish God's vision. He is Elohim incarnate. He was given a body and he suffered a violent death. He was slaughtered to validate human worthiness, to be in the throne room of Elohim with him. Wow, that is something. And so we continue reading. When he took the scroll, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb. Each one had a harp and golden bowls filled with incense, which are the prayers of the saints. And they sang a new song. You are worthy to take the scroll and open its seals, because you were slaughtered and you purchased people for God by your blood from every tribe, language, people, and nation. Wow. His sacrifice redeemed every single human being. He gave them the possibility of redemption if they choose to, And his victory, the slaughtered lamb's victory, is not by might or through violence, as the world defines power, but love, self-sacrifice, suffering, and obedience, embodying the pattern that God exalts. We need now, as God's people, to embody this pattern. And this is going to be more clearly seen in Revelation chapter 11. That probably we would have gone over it by the time you see this class. We have been made a kingdom for this purpose. You made them a kingdom and priests to our God, and they will reign on the earth, speaking of the people that he has redeemed. We are now to carry this message of redemption that the Lamb has for all peoples. And this is the fulfillment, isn't it, of God. God always wanted to do this. He wanted to do this with Moses and the Israelites, as we see here from Exodus 19:6. Well, Jesus truly fulfilled that. Power is redefined through sacrifice. That's what Revelation does for us. And this is the comforting message as we now embody the pattern of the Lamb. We can't embody the pattern of the world. Not everyone can. Some people try. That's self-defeatist. But every single human being can and should and must embody the pattern of the slaughtered Lamb. For that reason we were created, and for that reason he redeems us. Notice in the song here, they said with a loud voice, "Worthy is the Lamb." Why is he worthy? Because he was slaughtered to receive power, riches, wisdom, and strength, and honor, and glory, and blessing. The Lamb now is declared worthy to receive all these. This is a 7-fold doxology. True power in God's kingdom is not through domination, but faithful witness and sacrificial love. So that's the pattern that now we as believers need to embody. I mean, it's been in the scriptures all along, but now through Christ, through the slaughtered lamb, and here in Revelation, it's just completely declared so that no one can have any doubt. This is how we ought to live, through humility, service, trust in God, giving ourselves completely to God, and not in any worldly system or man-made philosophy. Revelation teaches that conquering happens not through violence or compromise, which was some of the problems in the seven churches, but through faithful witness unto death, just like Jesus did. God defeats evil not by resisting suffering, trying to protect oneself, right? But by taking suffering into himself, leaving for us a path, footsteps to follow, the footsteps of suffering, as Peter calls them. Yes, when Jesus calls us to follow him, he calls us to die to self, so that we can embody him. Resisting compromise, that's what we resist. Compromise in the flesh, living in purity, and remaining faithful in a world that's constantly going to test our faith, and it's constantly going to resist the call to holiness. We live out our worship, our true worship, as Romans 12, 1 and 2 says, is to embody the Lamb, right? Not to conform to the world, but be transformed by the renewal of our mind, and offer our bodies as a living sacrifice. That's the true worship, the true spiritual act of worship. That is embodying the pattern of the slaughtered lamb, serving others, being used and consumed to serve, forgiving, always, constantly. Forgiveness must flow from us, because nothing can damage us, nothing can hurt us. We're living the eternal life already. There's nothing that can hurt us here. And speaking the truth in love, with the grace God has given us. Yes, family, let's make it real. This is real. If you're in school, if you're a young person in school, you may be tempted to give in to the peer pressure, to fit in through the gossiping that you hear, the cheating, the substance abuse, the sexual compromises. You might sell out your identity. You may be tempted to do that. But the pattern of the slaughtered lamb calls us to sacrificial resistance. That's the carrying of the cross that we're all commanded to do. We take it up when we take that first step of obedience in baptism to follow the Lamb. We choose what honors God, even if it costs us popularity, because it has cost us our death already to follow him. If you're a little older and you're already working, you're in the workplace, you're in the rat race, well, you may be tempted to conform to unethical patterns in the workplace, to give lip service to somebody for undue gain, like a boss or a coworker, for the sake of success, for the sake of guarantee of a job. Really? Now that's the worldly system, wanting you to resist holiness. But following the Lamb means doing what is right, even if it costs you your job. Because our job, anyway, is to declare the gospel. We already have a job from the Most High that has eternal benefits. See, the world glorifies self-centered love. Take care of me, I'm number one. But Jesus calls us to others-centered love, to self-giving love. That's real self-love right there. So let's get into our questions for tonight. How does the image of Jesus as a slaughtered lamb challenge the world's view of power, success, and leadership? You might have a view going to school, growing up, or even being in the workplace culture, government, worldly systems constantly want us to mold ourselves after this view of power. But God says no. Here's Revelation 4 and 5. The slaughtered lamb challenges that. How are you going to redefine success for you according to Jesus? Number two, why do you think God chose to reveal Jesus in heaven as a lamb that looks like it was slaughtered? What does that say about what God values? I know there may be some overlap between 1 and 2, but it's slightly a different viewpoint there. Number three, for young people, but older people can also answer this. When peers mock or reject your Christian values, how can remembering the slaughtered lamb help you stay faithful and not compromise, keeping Jesus as the center and circumference of your life and worship? And number four, in your daily life, school, work, relationship, what's one area? Let's think about one area where God is calling you. You feel that conviction, that hit from the Holy Spirit, calling you to embrace the pattern of the slaughtered lamb, not resist, embrace the suffering. Take it in. Voluntarily take it in, as Jesus did, instead of taking in the pattern of the world. And for our weekly challenge, this last week of the Revelation class, we're going to practice the pattern of the Lamb, which was the goal all along, and it's something that many of you have already been doing. I'm very encouraged by the things that I hear, the things that I see, the prayer requests that you post. So this week, each day, ask yourself, how can I choose humility, love, or sacrifice in this situation, whatever situation that may be, instead of comfort or compromise, which is what we usually go to first. Number two, write down one decision each day in your journal where you chose faithfulness to Jesus' example over convenience or peer approval. One example every day. And in your day in prayer, thanking God for Jesus, thanking God for the Lamb who was slain, and asking Him to help you walk in that same pattern, in that same spirit. Thank you so much for your attention. God bless you. It's been a pleasure to help you in this journey in Revelation.